Welcome back to the Customer Success Festival. Before we get going with the next helping of inspiring content, we'd love to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring this event to your screens. And don't forget, you can access even more content from exclusive articles and interviews to all the past and future events on demand, as well as templates and frameworks by becoming a CSC member. Enjoy the next session. Amazing. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is the penultimate session for the festival today. We are joined by Mike Lee, who is a Director of Customer Success at Public Input. Before we get started, I'd like to invite everyone to drop in the chat menu, say hi, let us know where you're from, and also we'll be answering some questions at the end of the session. So feel free to put your questions in there and Mike will be happy to answer those for you. So without further ado, I hand you over to Mike Lee.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the festival, and I am Mike Lee. I am joining you today from Durham, North Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful Durham, North Carolina. I'm excited about being here. I'm even more excited about talking about leadership and transitions of leadership. There are in customer success, there are a lot of different transitions. There are a lot of different ways to have transitions, things that may happen. And we're going to talk about really one specific little piece of that. You know, we can, obviously transitions can mean going from a CSM to director of CSM within your organization, or, you know, joining a different organization, starting from scratch. But my topic today is really going to be about how do we adjust when we, as leaders, or when we become leaders, how do we move into a team that's already established? How do we inherit a team? What are the best practices in that? What are the challenges with that? And maybe things we should be aware of as we, have these conversations. As we have these conversations and transitions and so forth. So let's kind of jump right into it. The Great Resignation. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. I'm sure you guys, with COVID, everyone, this is raised to everyone's radar. The Great Resignation really is about people leaving their current jobs for other jobs that actually more align with what they want to do in their careers. Or maybe it's more of, it fits their style a little bit more. Maybe it's, remote working, maybe it's not as much pressure or so forth. But if it hadn't affected you yet directly in some way, I'm sure it will soon. And it's important for us to think about this as leaders and as individual contributors. Everyone on this call and at this festival is deeply interested in customer success. And so I think it's important for us to talk about these things, because I have a feeling that most everyone here is going to be a leader at some point. And becoming a leader means a few different things. It means you're going to take responsibility either to build an organization or to grow an organization that already exists. And we can address what we need to do in thinking about transitions. Now, as you can imagine, and I'm sure many of you have been through transitions in leadership or transition into different jobs or so forth, it could be a little complicated, but it doesn't have to be. If we take a few different ideas, a few different pointers, we can use those in any type of transition that we go through. I've had the fortune of being able to be a CSM, an individual contributor. I've also joined an organization that was non-existent in customer success and helped to build it from scratch. My last two roles as director, I was able to build an already existing team. So that's really important as well. And so what I'm going to be focusing on today is how do we go into an organization? How do we uh, introduce ourselves? How do we prioritize? How do we start to build trust in organizations that already exist? Meaning there's already a team of CSMs, there's already a team, there's already processes, there's already uh, procedures, playbooks, and things of that sort. Well, what do we do as leaders when we join those organizations? Again, please feel free to ask questions. We're going to have a question Q&A period at the end of the presentation. I expect this presentation to last about 20 minutes, maybe 22 minutes. So we should have some time to really answer some really good questions here. So let me get just a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Mike Lee. I live in Durham, North Carolina. I've been in the IT industry for about 25 years. I graduated in 1997, and I was actually a programmer. I was a developer. And I got a little bored with that, and I moved on to systems engineering. That was great for a little bit, but then I got a little more curious about business side of things. So I got my MBA and went on to different roles, project program, product management, and landed in customer success. And I've been in customer success about 8 years now. As we mentioned earlier, I'm the director of customer success at Public Input, which is a small company based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, that focuses on state and local governments and helping with public engagement. How do we get more people involved? And so I have a great team there. I have a great team of CSMs. I think they're on here. So shout out to my CSM team. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I am a published author and an award-winning cinematographer. If you can see up here in the top right hand, that's me in a Steadicam operator, as a Steadicam operator. That's shooting a film here local, and that's really the one you can run in and keep the camera steady. And that was a hobby of mine. That's something I did for a little bit professionally, but then I got back into the industry. I do have an MBA, and I'm a doctoral student at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, focusing on, that the brand loyalty as it relates to software as a service and its valuation of software as a service. I've been a member of the Board of Education here in Durham, North Carolina for 8 years. This is actually a shirt that I have on now. This is the Durham Public Schools logo. I try to shout them out wherever I go. And I sit on various boards for customer success. The Success League, Gain, Grow, Retain, and a few others itself. But by all means, this last thing at the bottom is super, super important, my LinkedIn address. Please feel free to connect with me. It's just a LinkedIn and then a tilde and Mike Lee. Very, very simple. I'm not an influencer, so you're not going to get flooded by my post. But I do try to share information as I learn it and as I use it, because I think it's very, very important for us to help each other grow in customer success. So opportunities. Now, I know we're talking about, transition. And I just spoke about resignations, but with every resignation, there's an opportunity of some sort. And a lot of times what we have are leaders either moving to other organizations for other opportunities, or they're being promoted up to higher levels, director to VP or manager to director, and so forth. So what I want to talk about today in this session is inheriting a team and building trust and then hitting the ground running. All of those are interconnected. And with specific practices or exercises, we can all hit the ground running and have success. Now, those of you who have heard me speak before, I like to give practical examples. I like to give things you can take with you and actually do today or tomorrow when you get promoted or whatever it may be. So I hope that what you leave from this presentation, what you leave with is the ability to understand the lay of the land when you get to a new place where you're inheriting a team, and some specific steps we can take to help ease that transition. So when you're inheriting a team, you're inheriting everything about that team. And so that means whatever they've built with camaraderie, the togetherness, or even the infighting that already may exist. What you're inheriting is individuals, individuals that are working together in any kind of way that they can. If there was a vacuum of leadership, meaning maybe there was a long period of time where someone who uh, may have been doing customer success or leading them may not have been the person who has customer success experience, what you find are sometimes as ad hoc processes. We search what we can, we kind of put stuff into place. Sometimes individuals do things differently than other individuals. There's no standardization. But even before we get to those processes, and even before we get to how that all works, what is it that the team is thinking about? What are they feeling? When we do experience maps in customer success, we often think about what the customer is experiencing at each individual touch point, experience point. Well, we have to think about what the individuals of our team are thinking. How will this new leader see me? A lot of people, a lot of individual contributors, they work really hard to build up a relationship with a particular leader to help them grow. It could be personal, it could be business wise. You do certain things, this leader knows the individual. But then all of a sudden that's ripped apart, and then someone new comes in. How do I build that relationship again? How important is that to the new leader? Will the new leader force their will on us? That is a huge question, because one of the things that we as leaders have to understand is we can't come in and just hack away at whatever's been there, whatever's worked to this point. We have to understand that whatever's there, even if it's put together in an ad hoc fashion, it's kind of piecemeal together. It has gotten the team to this point to where they're operating in the way that they are. And it may not be the best way of action to come in and just say, you know what, all of this is terrible. Boom, cut it away. We're going to do it my way. That is not how you build trust. That is not how you build respect as a leader. We have to go in. We have to understand what's happening. Why? How do we get to this point? And then we grow from there. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. And then, is my job safe? Everyone here who has been in a transition, you're always worried about, am I going to continue to have a job when a new leader comes in? What is the new leader going to think? Is it going to rebuild? Is he or she going to rebuild the organization and we're not going to be here? They're going to bring in more people that they've worked with previously. That's in their mind. And we as leaders, we have to make sure that we understand what it is that our employees or our teammates are thinking about. So these are really important. Obviously, leaders have concerns as well. How are they gonna like me? Are they gonna understand my background? Are they gonna listen? What type of relationship have they had in the previous? But us as leaders, as we grow into this space, we have to make sure that we're aware of the challenges that our team, newly inherited team, are facing. So trust is not earned. I mean, trust is earned, not demanded. You can't come in and say, you guys have to trust me on this. It doesn't work that way. I want you to think about any trust relationship that you have. Did you just automatically trust the person, the individual? Did you Did something have to happen? Did they have to earn your trust? Did they have to show you that they had your best interest in mind? That's what we have to do as leaders. We have to continue to do that. This is not a one step and then trust is given. That's not the way it works. So one of the fastest ways to lose trust in an organization from a team is to come in and throw everything that they've done away and then try to impose directly what your feelings are without having observed what's going on. I recently joined Public Input, and the first 30 days, and my team can attest to this, the first 30 days, I just kept meeting with people. I kept going to the meetings. Kept asking questions. I was trying to understand how this worked, and how that worked, and what engagement looks like for our customers. I was trying to understand our customers. I was trying to understand, what the customer success relationship was with marketing, with sales, with engineering, with product, with support. Trying to understand that. Trying to understand, what is it that public input saw or sees in customer success? What did they believe in customer success? Because me as a director, I feel like I'm a chief evangelist of customer success. I have to make sure that the tenets, the principles of customer success are here. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is not do things, not change things immediately. Yeah, I absolutely saw some things that could have been tweaked, some things could have been changed. But I really wanted to understand what were the processes? How did we get to this? How was the health scores being calculated? Because I didn't know our customers within the first 30 days. I didn't know what health meant. I didn't know what was good or bad, what usage, what level of usage is good, or what level of, recording of activities were bad, or whatever that was. I needed to understand that. And the team, they were great. They were wonderful. They were patient. They asked all the questions. They answered all the questions I had. They even offered input. They listened to my thoughts as I was saying, my experience is this. I'm not imposing anything, but I'm just saying this could work better this way. So you observe for 30 days. Don't put your hands on anything. Listen. You can search, you can look in the CRM, you can do all of that, but listen and observe. Talk to everyone in the company. Understand each team member. It is super important to take your time and understand where is each team member coming from. What is their experience? What is their background? What are their challenges? What are their worries? We need to know all of this as leaders, because if we're building that trust on the team level, we have to build the trust. We have to build trust on an individual level as well. But we can also understand how this person fits into the organization. One of the biggest mistakes that I see new leaders coming in inheriting organizations make is, you don't go look at the background and the history of the employees. When someone applies to a company, everybody looks at their resume. What's the background? Everyone doing the interviews. But when you come in and there's a team already there, a lot of times people don't look at resumes. They don't look at resumes. They don't look at backgrounds. They don't look at LinkedIn. Maybe they look at LinkedIn, but they don't really deeply look at the experience of the individual and how they may contribute to your vision. That's a big mistake. And what has worked? And what are the challenges? Like I said, the team has gotten to where they are somehow. The team has gotten there. The team has pieced together processes, or they have a very mature process, a set of processes that allows it to do the work that they're doing. But we need to look at that. We need to understand that. And we have to come in with a humble spirit and saying, I may not know everything about customer success here. I may not know everything about customers. I have experience in customer success and I know what works in my background, but these processes that are already here may be what needs to happen here. But I can, you know, put this together with my experience and make it even better. That's the key, is understanding what has worked, understanding the challenges, and using your experience to grow that understanding. So when you walk in, when you come in, there's a few things I think that you should focus on when you inherit a team. First and foremost is the people. Focus on the people. Generally speaking, when you're on a director level, when you're in a leader level, you're not going to be necessarily doing the work. You're not going to be in the weeds. Some directors are hands-on. I get that. Some directors have customers. Managers a lot of times have customers that they're responsible for, but the majority of the work on the individual contributors. And so understand them. Let them know that you are there in service of them. I had a manager a long time ago. He was asking the entire team, he said, "What do you think I do? Do I do the big stuff or do I do the small stuff?" Kind of people looked around and was kind of thinking, and we knew it was a trick question, but we didn't quite know which side was the trick. And so most everybody said, you do the big stuff. You're the big timer, you get the big money. He said, "No, I do the small stuff. You all do the big stuff because you make the money. So the small stuff that happens that gets in your way, that stops you from being able to do your work, that's my job to get that out of the way. That's the small stuff. I have to make sure that you have the systems that you need. You have everything that you need to do the job that you're hired to do. And you all go do the big stuff and you talk to customers. At that time I was a developer. So you guys do the development." And so that stuck with me because the individual contributors, the CSMs, do the big stuff. Our job is to make sure they have what they need, the motivation, the tools, the processes, the overall vision of what we need to do for a customer. They have that. And if they have that and they understand engagement and we tweak that and we help them get certifications and so forth, then the good stuff can happen. Processes. Take a step back and look at what's happening. What does engagement look like? What does engagement mean to your customers? If it's a technical product, is it more technical based? Do your CSMs have that technical knowledge? If it is just more adoption based, what does engagement mean? Understand your processes, understand your playbooks, understand, what's there and what's missing. Look at the playbooks, read through your playbooks. Are they missing the sponsor change playbook? Are they missing anything that you've used previously? Look at that. Read through it, understand it, know it, so that when you're talking about how do we improve, you're armed with the knowledge of what's already there. Understanding accounts. This is an extremely important piece. You should know how many accounts each CSM has. You should know how many accounts in general. What is the ARR of everyone's book of business? What is the churn rate of each individual person, and overall churn rate? We'll talk about churn in just a minute. But you should understand your book, the CS book of business. You should understand your segments if you have segments. We don't have segments yet at public input. That's second quarter, something we'll be working on. But you should understand your segments. You should understand, who's doing what, so that you can start to tweak as a leader. You should also understand your NRR, your net retained revenue. That is the single most important metric that has come forward in the last year or so. And your churn, they're kind of related. You should understand as much as you can why customers are leaving. Maybe you should have conversations with a couple of customers that have recently churned. You should dig in. You should look at the data. Why customers are churning? What were the specific metrics or data surrounding the churn? Did usage go down? Speak to your CSMs about that. And then evangelizing your vision for CS. You should have a vision. I'm not saying anything that I'm saying here, coming in and understanding and listening is one thing, but that doesn't mean you don't have a vision for CS. So when you're going through this time, you're going through and you're understanding what's happening here, but how does that align with what you feel should be happening, working with leadership and so forth? Evangelizing what CS is, making sure everybody understands it's not support. So we want to make sure we get that. And then one last thing really quickly, and again, I know I'm running out of time. We're coming up short, some time here, but again, 30 days, learn and observe. Day 31 through 90, talk about what you observed. Talk about team structure. What processes we can target? What do you feel we need to tweak? What quick wins can you have? What can we change that may help with churn? Actions for longer term, maybe that's hiring more people, or maybe that's, like I said, segmentation. Segmentation's a little longer term for us. But above all, choose something to make it happen. Everyone wants to see results in your day, in your first 90 days. Make something happen. Help people move. Get some certification started. Get some engagement, some playbook started. Get that stuff moving, and you'll be very successful as a new leader inheriting an organization. Again, I want to thank you. I'm sorry I had to rush through that last slide. I want to thank you for coming and listening. This is my email address to my work. And this is, please reach out on LinkedIn via email if you have questions. Now, I saw a question, and I'll invite Alex back up, but I did see a question that's super, super important. And someone asked if it was UNC or Duke. And so someone fully understands Tar Heels or Blue Devils. And I'm going to say, let me see who that was. That was Jason. It's Blue Devils all day long. Duke Blue Devils. That's what we have here. Best team. Obviously, we lost the other day, but it's still the best team. So I'll invite Alex back up, and then, yeah.
Thank you for that, Mike. That was a very interesting presentation there. So now time for a little bit of a Q&A. So we have a question from Laura, and she says, how do you keep the team motivated with so many leaders resigning and going to other companies?
Well, so coming into an organization, I think it's important to let the team know, I'm here for you. I am here to help you. And so I come in with a level of experience, but my job here is to make sure that you get something from this to where if you leave, I don't want you to leave, but if you leave, you go for something better. I'm going to help you grow. I'm going to help you move. And I have the experience to do that. So that's how I like to keep my team motivated, but also just a better world of CS. I want to make their lives easier. So that's what I come in with. And it seems to work.
Amazing. Another question from Anna. Would you build your team based on their individual results or how well they function together?
I'm a team person. And so, like, if I were to look a snapshot of somebody's individual results, that could mean a lot of different things. And so, what I like to do is I like to see a long period of time. I like to see how people work together and how they grow each other. Obviously, when there's performance issues, you have to kind of take that up and see how you can help with that. But outside of individual performance, I think team togetherness and team working together to build processes and so forth are extremely important. So I'm more of a team type leader.
Yeah. Another question from Ashir. How can you handle low performers within a team?
Well, one of the difficult things you have for as a leader is understanding, do you have the right people in the right seats? And sometimes you don't. And you have to be honest with the individuals, you have to be honest with the team. The team will know who the low performers are. And if you continue to allow them to low perform and they continue to move on, that demotivates the rest of the team. So be honest. Look, there's problems. We may need to make a change. This may not be the right seat for you. Let me help you move. Let me help you find a role that works better for you. And that is if your coaching doesn't work.
Thank you for that. And another question by Devon. As a CSM who is here during a leadership transition, what are the best ways to provide feedback to the leader?
That is really a good question because, and like I said, my team would chime in on this. I say from the very beginning, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You are not going to hurt my feelings. We're professionals here. So if you were to say, Mike, what you're doing is just, it doesn't align with the values of what we're doing, or I don't understand this. It doesn't seem like it's going to work. Come to me and tell me that. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to hold a grudge. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I see that as someone that wants to step up and help the organization succeed. And if you could come speak to me, if you could come speak and say this, I want to treasure that. So I'm completely transparent. You're transparent with me, I'm going to be transparent with you. And that's exactly how I operate.
Thank you for that. And just one more question while we've got time, or slightly over time, that's fine. By Tracy, following up on Ashir's question, how do you approach coming in as a manager with team members who might be on an improvement plan as a new manager? How do you get them back on track?
I've actually experienced this, and it's very important that one, you understand what the improvement plan was, but also you understand, it's not necessarily, someone else's thoughts or opinions, if it's not data backed, may not be right. So you have to observe it too. You can't come in biased. Obviously, you want to be aware of that. You want to be aware of someone on a performance plan because that means something. That means something is a concern. Understand that concern, but also make your determination as well, because it could be the lack of leadership. Leadership can cause performance issues in individuals as well. So it doesn't, and so a new leader may come in and be able to coach this individual or reach this individual in a way that he or she wasn't able to reach before. So, understand that there's a performance plan, but also make your own judgment on that. And then execute it. If it continues to be a problem, you continue to see that, then of course you need to continue that performance plan. But also you want to try to reach that person and understand maybe it may not have been, maybe just a disconnection between the leader.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Mike. I did thoroughly enjoy that presentation, and I'm sure everyone else did as well. So yes, again, thank you, audience. And again, thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.